In this video, we're going to be talking about while loops. So what exactly is a while loop? So a while loop is basically a loop that allows you to execute a block of code however times needed until a certain condition is met. So what exactly does that mean? Well, let's say you're in college, right? While you're in college, you have to study. You have to hit the books, you have to study. And once you graduate from college, you don't need to study anymore. So while you're in college, you need to study so that you can pass your classes. Then once you're out of college, then you're out of the while loop once you're out of college. So while in college is true. And then you'll just study. So that's just like a basic example. But anyways, here's another example. Like while you're sick, right? While you're sick, you need to have medicine, right? So while sick, have medicine. And then once you are no longer sick, once you have enough medicine, then you won't be sick anymore and you'll be good. So that's when you break out of the while loop. So that's just like a conceptual way of thinking about it. So here's like a for loop, right? This is what we were previously dealing with. So for I in range 0 to 5, we print I. So you can do the same thing with a while loop. So you can say like int, I equals 0. I forgot, this is Python. I equals 0. And then while I is less than 5, we can print I and then increment I by 1. So what will this print? This is a quiz for you. Well, it will print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we start I equals 0, and then we're saying, okay, while I is less than 5, then we're going to print I. So, and then after we print I, we're going to add 1, and then we're going to do it again, and again, and again, until this condition is no longer met. So of course, we start I equals 0, 0 is less than 5, then we print 0. And 0 plus equals 1, so then 0 gets incremented to 1. And then we have 1, 1 is less than 5, then we print 1, then 1 becomes 2. Then we have 2 is less than 5, print 2, 2 becomes 3. 3 is less than 5, print 3, 3 becomes 4. And then we print 4. And then 4 becomes 5. And once we have 5 can no longer fit into this loop, and we're done. We don't print 5. Because once 5 is less than 5, this is, we're done. We skip past it. So if this was I is less than or equal to 5, then we could print it. But it's just I is less than 5 in this case. So anyways, that's just like another, I guess is like the way you can think of it in terms of a for loop. But the difference between a while loop and a for loop is that with while, you don't necessarily know how many iterations are needed with these kinds of loops. With like situations like this, you don't know how many times you're going to need medicine until you're no longer sick. You don't know how long you're going to need to study while you're in college. It's just at some point you meet the condition and then it breaks. But of course, so that's the cool thing about while loops, is that you don't necessarily need to know. So here's an example of a problem. So in this program, it's asking you to guess a secret number, and that's the whole idea. We want to find the number. So this is what you're prompted when you first enter the program. Guess the secret number between 1 and 100. And then the user guesses 50. And then it tells you, oh, too high. Guess again. And the user guesses 25. And then, oh, it's too low. And then it tells you to guess again. And the user guesses 37. And then they got it right. And it tells the user you got it right in 3 times. So this is what we're gonna program this game here. So if you wanted to, you could take a moment to try and pause it and do it yourself. If you want to pause this video and do it yourself, and yeah, and unpause it once you're ready. But yeah, now we'll talk about that game. So firstly, this is using random. So we need to import random in order to randomly get a number, right? In this case, it's 37. So we need to import random, and then we can create a random number variable to hold the random number that will be guessed. So random num equals random dot rand int, and then it wants between 1 and 100. So random dot rand int 1 comma 100, and that'll give us a number in the range of 1 to 100. So this is going to be the answer, and then we're going to need a variable for the user's guess. So guess equals int input, and this is what we're using to get the user's guess, as I said. So guess the number between 1 and 100. So the int assures that the input that we get is an integer, and we're using input, the function input, to actually get the input from the user. So that's what's happening here. We're telling the user to guess a number between 1 and 100, and they input 50. And now from here, one more thing we also want to initialize is a variable to hold our count, because at the end we're like, okay, congratulations, you guessed number in 3 tries. So we need to do that, create a count variable. And because we're doing our first guess here, we can just start at count equals 1. And now here's the fun part. So while, and we want to make sure that while the user hasn't guessed, we want to continue to prompt the user to give more guesses if they haven't guessed correctly, sorry. So while guess is not equal to the random num, and from here we're gonna do like an if and else to check is the guess that they have too high or too low. So if guess is greater than random num, then it's too high. So we want to print too high. So if the guess is not greater than random num, it has to be less than random num. So we're going to say too low for that case, because it's less than. So the reason why we automatically know, okay, it's less than and not less than or equal to, is because we have this. So while guess is not equal to. So that's saying it's not the random num. So we don't even need to check for less than or equal to, because it's just going to be less than because of that. because we're checking, okay, it's not equal to anyways. So it's either greater than or less than. So yeah, so it's not greater than, so then it's less than. And then after we're done with this if else, we want the user to guess again. So we can say guess equals int input guess again. So as you see here, when the user guessed something that's too high, that's what outputs. It said, okay, we guessed 50, the solution is 37, so it compares our guess 50 to 37, and then it's too high. In this case, we have 25, and it's too low, right? So 25 is greater than 37. No, it's not true. So then it goes to the else and prints too low. And here, as we see here, the prompt guess again, that's just what's happening here. And we're saying guess equals int input guess again. So we're prompting the user after the if else to guess again. And then, yeah, and then after each guess, again, we increment by 1. So after they guess again, then we need to increment the guess count. And this is your while loop. So once they guess correctly, they're going to break out of the while loop, because this is while guess is not equal to random num. So once you guess 37 equals 37, right? 37 is not equal to 37, that's false. So then you break out of it. So 37 equals 37, right? So then you can print a nice congrats to the user. Congratulations. You guessed number in a certain amount of tries, in count tries. Oh. Plus count plus space tries. So it prints that. Congratulations, you guessed the number in the number count tries. And that is the example problem for you. And yeah, that's it. If anyone has any questions, feel free to drop a comment. Hope this video was helpful.